that those were all destroyed, at the World Trade Center on 9/11.
Well, this is very damn peculiar. I'll just say this is very damn peculiar.
Now let me give you a quote from all the writings in their book were cryptic, very cryptic. It's like reading a spy, like an I Spy novel. And one of the things that they said is, and it was just said cryptically, only 10 missing floors to the top. How did they say it, Larry?
He has a drawing where the exterior of the building seems to be a swarm in bees. Bees circling around the exterior like it were a hive. And he says the building is very exciting outside, very depressing inside.
Because it's been gutted.
Exactly. What other explanation would there be to call a skyscraper, that beautiful building boring on the inside? Why would he think of missing floors?
Only 10 missing floors to the top, and then he said that how did he say it? The building was depressing on the outside, or no?
Exciting on the outside, depressing on the inside. It's on one of those diagrams.
They also said that they lost somebody in their crew. It seems like one of the crew in Gelatin, had an accident at the World Trade Center and died. How did it word that, Larry? It said that somebody succumbed to gravity.
Right.
It sounds as though they fell.
Yeah, exactly. It was unsafe, and somebody had an accident in there. One of their crew.
Down an elevator shaft, perhaps.
Well, I guess we might as well just say it. We believe that they had removed large amounts of the floors. They had pre-demoed these buildings.
So somebody had just stepped to the wrong place and fallen through a hole all the way down through many floors, or?
Yeah, there probably wouldn't have been a lot of safety apparatus, and if there was safety apparatus, you're on your own. You could easily, get on the other side.
This has got to be the most bizarre development I've ever seen in the study of 9/11. This is weird. Because, I cannot say that you're wrong. I can't say you're wrong. I'm saying you got some stuff here that is very, very intriguing. This is really strange. I'm telling you, this is strange. Go ahead, Larry.
I'd just like to pose the question, to everybody listening. Does it make sense that somebody would go to all of this tremendous, great trouble over a stunt like this? Or, especially with all the inconsistencies that are shown in the photographs, is it even possible that they were there as art students just to perform this stunt?
No, of course not. Of course not. Of course not. They were there for other purposes, and no one is going to assume they were there for this artistic purpose. That's obviously a cover story. So I don't think nobody's going to argue about that, Larry. The question to be, well, what the hell were they there to really do?
Right, and we feel that given the proximity and the thing that connects us emotionally deep in our hearts to 9/11, which closed our eyes to the idea that these people were necessarily not real, was in fact the jumpers. The jumpers, everybody's heart sank when they saw a jumper come out the window. The activity of the jumping was very odd anyway. They waved a shirt. In almost every case, they waved a shirt, and then a few seconds later jumped. Well, think about it for a minute. Were they waving a shirt expecting Superman to come fly by and grab them, and they gave up on him in 2 seconds and jumped? The behavior makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, and the Gelatin experience appears to be the perfect dress rehearsal for staging that stunt with the helicopter and all. This is how we're going to do it. Can we get in position? Can they be seen? Can we signal you to have the camera ready to shoot the jumper? Because, a lot of people have said it's uncanny how the jumpers have been caught on video. Well, they waved a shirt. Here comes one. We've got one loaded, the camera trained, and then out came the jumper.
Who were the bodies? Who were the bodies? Were they murdering people?
Well, there were several possibilities. I would assume that New York City has a plenty of drawers full of unclaimed John and Jane Does. Wouldn't you assume that?
Yeah.
And we know that the coroner's office would certainly have to be involved in this type of a cover-up. So
All right.
those things lace together quite well. They could also have been any number of things: animatronics, dummies, dolls. They certainly don't fly like a person trying to slow his progress towards a certain death. That is one thing that's for certain.
Hey, Jim, check this out. One of the jumpers jumps out of the, north or south tower. I think it's the north tower. He lands on the, there's a glass entrance on the outside of the square, to get into the building. And he lands on top of this. It's glass and cement. And after he lands on the roof, he falls. He had fallen 90 floors. And then you can see him moving.
He's fallen 90 floors and he's moving?
And he's moving, yeah. It had to have been a mechanical dummy that just didn't, it didn't stop like they thought it would. But, the jumpers were fake. The jumpers, did you realize that the jumpers were the only death that you saw on 9/11? And a day that claimed thousands of lives, Jim, the only death that we saw were the jumpers.
That's very damn interesting all by itself.
So then what's really interesting is almost all the jumpers, they almost every single one of them came from 90-91. The same floor area that Jellison was at.